Hi, welcome to Derry Community Television. My name is Susanne Bernier-Robinson. Today we have the special honor of having Miss New Hampshire 2015 here in our studio. Let me introduce to you Holly Blanchard. It seems just like last week that you were in here as Miss Rockingham County.
It really does. I was here just a short while ago as Miss Rockingham County talking about my year as Miss Rockingham County and preparing for Miss New Hampshire. And I am so excited to be back here now as Miss New Hampshire. It has been a long time coming, and I'm very excited to be able to represent the state as Miss New Hampshire this year.
You've got a fun year planned, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And I've been told that it will go by very quickly, and it's hard to believe it's already almost been a month since I have been crowned Miss New Hampshire. It has flown by. The Miss America competition will be in Atlantic City, and the final crowning night will be September 13th, which is a Sunday. And so that's just a few short months away. So really focusing this summer on my preparation for Miss America and gearing up for that competition.
How much time will you spend preparing for Miss America?
Quite a bit of time, and fortunately I have prepared for the past 10 years for this chance and this opportunity to go to Miss America. So even just last fall, I had the opportunity to go to a national level competition as a representative from New Hampshire, and being the first runner-up to Miss New Hampshire Megan Cooley last year. And it was called the National Sweetheart Competition. And I had a chance to compete with other runner-ups from across the country affiliated with the Miss America organization. And it was an eye-opening experience for me. It gave me a look into a national level competition and what I would face if I were to go to Miss America. And I really think that helped prepare me for Miss New Hampshire this year, and I'm ready to take on Miss America.
So part of your preparation will be physical, staying in shape.
Yes.
Your talent. So just kind of run through, what do you think you'll be working on?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually, right after I was crowned, met with our fitness sponsor, which is Integrity Health Coaching for Women. And they're located in Bedford and in Londonderry, and I have the ability to go to both locations. And they have been a great sponsor for a number of years in really preparing the young woman who is representing our state as Miss New Hampshire for the Lifestyle and Fitness and Swimsuit competition. And so really learning about the proper foods to eat, and really focusing in on the nutrition side of things, as well as focusing in on training. You know, physically training.
They do go hand in hand.
They do, they absolutely do, and I'm learning more and more that it's more about what you eat than about what you do to exercise. You can exercise 7 days a week, and if you're not eating the right things, you might not see a change in your body composition. And right after I won, I had the opportunity to speak with the owner of Integrity, who is Raghu Boulay, and he said to me, I can tell just by looking at your physique that you don't eat enough protein. And protein is huge. And so I've really tried to eat more protein already, starting in that side of training. And then I also will be preparing my talent. I'm actually going down this weekend to Pennsylvania to work with a choreographer on my talent.
Will you be changing your routine
I will
a little
be,
bit then?
And we just submitted my potential new talent music to Miss America, so it hasn't been officially registered yet, so I can't reveal that yet. It'll be a surprise, but I will be switching it up for Miss America. At Miss America, the talents can only be 90 seconds. And for Miss New Hampshire, my routine was about 2 minutes. So I had to think about whether or not I wanted to keep the same piece of music and just shorten it, or whether or not I wanted to go with an entirely new piece of music. And in order to keep an element of excitement, I decided I would change up the music just to have something new and fresh. And I'm very excited about it.
It will be a dance and twirling combination.
Exactly. Yep, just very similar to what I did at Miss New Hampshire. It will be a dance twirl routine, combining my love for both baton twirling and dancing. And it will be a 90-second routine rather than a 2-minute routine like it was at Miss New Hampshire. But thinking about a new costume for that talent piece. We do have some talent costume sponsors for our state, and we have incredible sponsors for Miss New Hampshire, and that has been the most eye-opening thing to me so far, to see the generosity of so many of these people.
You also have a car sponsor?
Yes, a brand new car. Yep, it's from Merrimack Street Volvo, and it's a beautiful 4-door Volvo that has the sponsorship on the car and the logo for Merrimack Street Volvo, and it also says Miss New Hampshire on the side, so you may or may not see me driving around town from time to time. And Miss New Hampshire has that card for a year, and that's amazing because as Miss New Hampshire, I definitely will do a lot of traveling throughout the state, and so to not have to put that mileage on my own personal vehicle is very nice.
You'll have a lot of speaking engagements. As you
Definitely.
said, you'll be traveling around. I guess that is how you prepare for your, I want to say, one-on-one interview. What is it officially called?
It's the private interview portion of the
interview.
competition. And that will be at Miss America in front of a panel of about 5 judges. And this year at Miss America, they're actually having 2 separate panel of judges. So for the preliminary nights of competition, they'll have 1 panel of judges who will also be the judges who do the private interviews. And then for the final night of competition, it'll be the celebrity panel of judges. And we do not know yet who the judges will be for each of the respective panels, but that will be exciting. And so for the interview phase of competition, like you said, having speaking engagements throughout the year will help prepare me. But we also have an interview prep team. A couple of the Miss New Hampshire board members will get together with me and talk about interview, and I'll have some mock interviews over the summer to prepare for Miss America. And so it's but definitely being out in the community, having a chance to talk with others or do a show like this help prepare me for that interview phase of competition.
How long is that interview?
It's 10 minutes.
It's actually 10 minutes.
It is 10 minutes.
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
when I was younger, that seemed like an eternity. But now that I'm older and have done this for quite some time, you get in there and before you know it, the interview is over. So really learning how to be concise with your answers and knowing that you only have so much time in that interview and you want to get across all the points that you want to. And so learning to be concise in your answers, that's been one of my challenges. I like to talk a lot, and so trying to find a way to be more concise is what I'm focusing on.
I was thinking that you had 90 seconds to answer the question. So if you took time to breathe and relax, you've lost 10 seconds already. So I'm glad to hear that it's actually 10 minutes.
Yes.
And I guess it's more than one question.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I thought it was just one question too.
That will be for the onstage question competition, and that during the final night of competition that will be televised, it will only be the top 5 that have the chance to answer that onstage question. And for that portion, the onstage question, they have about 30 seconds, I believe, because with a televised broadcast, you only have so much time. And so they time that question. I believe the young ladies have about 30 seconds to answer. But in the private interview, where I would stand in front of the panel of 5 judges, I have 10 minutes. So I can take as long or as short as I'd like to answer some of the questions, but keeping in mind that those 10 minutes do go by pretty quickly.
Right.
And it's funny, believe it or not, over the past couple of years, when I've competed at Miss New Hampshire, when I walk out of the interview room, I try to start thinking about the questions that they asked me, and I write them down. And I have found over the past couple of years that I average between 15 and 25 questions per interview.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
a
you
lot
really
more than I
can
thought.
get a lot in 10 minutes. It might go quickly, but you can pack a lot into a 10-minute interview.
It's not real. I was thinking they gave you one question and you had to expand on that. So with this, it's more a conversation of where they're, it's question after question.
Definitely. And
So you don't have to gather all your points together for a 10-minute speech, I guess, because that's what I was thinking it was
Yeah,
like.
and I'm glad you asked about that because some people have no idea that there's even a private interview phase of the competition, and that's, you know, the public never sees that interview. It's a private interview for a reason, and it's a chance for the judges to get to know the contestant on a personal basis and really make a connection with the contestant. And I found this year at Miss New Hampshire that I really had an opportunity to connect with the judges and viewed it as a conversation rather than as a firing squad of questions. You know, I made it conversational, and it just flows naturally that way. And sometimes the questions will be very different. You could get one political question, and then the next question could be a personal question. But sometimes what you say in your answer snowballs into another question.
Right.
If something in your answer is confusing to the judges, they might ask for clarification, or they might spiral off of that into another question. So I have always tried to view it as a conversation and remember that the judges are people just like you and I. When I was younger, it was a very intimidating thing to do. Standing in front of a panel of judges, it can be nerve-wracking, but remembering that they could be just as nervous as I am is important too.
Right. So I guess those public speaking engagements are the best way to prepare.
Right, definitely. And when your people in the public have questions for me as Miss New Hampshire, and if I were to go on to be Miss America, right after the young woman is crowned Miss America, she goes into a press conference. I believe it's about a 30-minute press conference where people are firing questions at her, and she has to be prepared to answer any of those questions.
And they come from, when you're doing the speaking engagements, coming from maybe a 5-year-old girl that just is looking up to you as a mentor, or you know, it could be a grandmother, or so you're getting questions from all ages.
Yes, I was actually at a school the other morning. I was at Bristol Elementary School. One of my good friends is a long-term substitute there, and she had invited me to come to speak to the students about my role as Miss New Hampshire and about my job with Make-A-Wish. And I had a young girl raise her hand and ask me, how do you make your crown? And it was the sweetest thing. And I had to explain to her that I did not make the crown, and that if I did, it would not be very pretty. But she was so innocent in asking that.
All the glitter.
And, right. Some of the questions they have really are amazing. They have great imaginations, and
I bet those are the fun questions.
They are. They are definitely the fun questions, but sometimes they throw you for a loop too.
Let's talk about the Miss New Hampshire program a little bit more, as far as what the mission is and the opportunity for what they provide for the girls.
Sure. So the Miss New Hampshire Scholarship Program is first and foremost a scholarship program. In the 5 years that I've been involved with Miss New Hampshire, I have won over $40,000 in scholarship. And that's including my earnings from this past Miss New Hampshire and winning the title of Miss New Hampshire. But so many people out there don't realize what this program can do for a young woman. It has boosted my confidence like you wouldn't believe. It has given me an opportunity to speak with a number of people, practice interviewing skills, and the scholarships that this program and the Miss New Hampshire program offers are really beneficial in thinking about higher education and being able to afford that.
Are there special requirements for a girl to participate?
Yeah, so the Miss New Hampshire program, the Miss level, is for young women between the ages of 17 and 24, and a 17-year-old who is a senior in high school up until the age of 24. We also have an outstanding teen program, which is for young girls between the ages of 13 and 17. So I actually started off at the age of 13 and transitioned and competed through the teen program, then transitioned into the Miss program at the age of 17. And so this really has been a transformative experience for me over the past 10 years, looking back, you know, where I started and to where I've come, and it's been a great part of my life and has made a huge impact on my life, and I don't think people realize the transformative experience that this organization can provide.
It sounds like it's become a family for you.
It really has.
I bet may surprise some people, because I think the perception that some people have that it's extremely
competitive,
unforgiving, and competitive, and, but it isn't. It's like a sisterhood. I think
really
I've heard you say.
Yes, it really is. And some of my very best friends were competitors at Miss New Hampshire this year. And like you said, people have this perception that competitors can't be friends or that we're enemies, and that's not the case at all. The young ladies that compete are some of my dearest friends, and I think I've said this to you before, but I heard a quote once, and somebody said, girls compete against one another and young women empower one another. And that's really what this program is about. The volunteers that are involved with this organization have become like family members to me, and it really truly is like a second family to have.
If there is a 17-year-old girl out there who has never competed before, would she be able to enter the Miss competition?
Definitely.
She can.
Yep,
okay, so she doesn't need a title from being a teen to be able to compete at
Correct. And we have quite a few girls and young women who discover through researching scholarship opportunities our program, which is great that, you know, young people are out there looking for scholarship opportunities and how they can afford their education. And in discovering and learning about the Miss New Hampshire program, they reach out. I've known of some contestants who start competing at the age of 23. And so they're only eligible for a year, but it's 1 year of potential scholarship earnings that they're able to put towards their education. And so you don't have to have prior experience. Obviously it's helpful, but there are so many of us out there that are willing to help others.
Nice.
You know, if somebody were to reach out to me through the Facebook page or through the Miss New Hampshire website, I would absolutely give my assistance or suggestions in any way that I could, because I really think that as many girls and young women that are able to compete should. It's a great opportunity to earn scholarship dollars.
It's not just the scholarship dollars. Those are really helpful, especially with today's cost of college education. But with the experience of being able to stand in front of a crowd and perform a talent, or to be randomly asked questions in an interview, those skills are life skills that
it prepares you for life. I interviewed for a position with Make-A-Wish New Hampshire about 4 months ago, and I give a lot of credit to my involvement with the Miss New Hampshire Scholarship Program in going into that interview process. It was an intimidating process to go through, but my experience in this program prepared me for it, and I think that's what helped me be successful in obtaining a job with that nonprofit organization.
You were born and raised here in Derry,
Yes.
which is wonderful. You've been through the school system, so and your platform, if you want to spend a minute talking about that, because you've done a lot of volunteer work.
Sure. My platform is called Charity from the Heart, Giving Time to Make a Difference, and it's all about encouraging young people and people in general to give back to their communities and volunteer and make a difference in the lives of others. And I started that platform. It was not quite called the same, but it was on a similar playing field when I was in 7th grade, because when I was in school at Gilbert H. Hood Middle School, it was required that we completed a certain amount of hours of community service. And for a lot of my peers, that was a hard thing to do. It was frustrating to them. They didn't view it as something that could be beneficial to their lives. And so that was my way of saying, okay, how can I encourage young people that giving back is a positive thing, and then it's a great way to get involved with your community. And so that's really been my mission over the past 10 years, and I'm excited to continue doing that as Miss New Hampshire.
The Miss New Hampshire competition, let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
Were you nervous at any point?
I actually felt really comfortable and calm going into the competition this year. I knew that I had done everything I possibly could to prepare for this year's competition. And having been first runner-up last year, I didn't put this pressure on myself to win it this year. Some people questioned and asked me whether or not I was nervous about having pressure placed on me. Right, and you know, I only had one place to go higher, but I think it kept me grounded, and if anything, it showed me that I was capable of becoming Miss New Hampshire, and so it motivated me.
Good.
And so I really tried my best to stay grounded and stay humble and work hard, and I put more into my preparation this year than I ever have before. And so at the end of the day, going into the competition, I was confident in what I had done to prepare, and if it didn't work out, I'm fortunate that it did, but if it didn't, I wouldn't have had any regrets.
Good. That's a nice way to feel.
It really was, because there's nothing like going into competition week and being able to enjoy yourself. I didn't want to be stressed. I didn't want to be nervous or worried. Sure, I was a little nervous when I performed my talent. Having been the overall talent winner the past 2 years, that was a little bit of pressure going into to maintain that level of performance. And unfortunately, I didn't become the overall talent winner this year, but at the end of the day, I did give it my all, and I'm proud of my accomplishments.
Explain a little bit about how are you judged? Is there a number rating system? How do they determine who is the winner, I guess?
Sure. So the judges are given scoring sheets, and they rank each contestant between 1 and 10, 1 being the lowest score, 10 being the highest. Both the low and high scores are dropped.
Okay.
So that way, if some judges are consistent in their thinking, and there are some outliers, if you will, those scores are dropped.
And there's 5 judges? How many judges?
There were 5 judges
Okay.
this year, yep, and then a judges chair as well. And then the tabulators take the judges' score sheets and do all the math and configuration, and
Okay.
from that determine a top 10. And once a top 10 is determined, the judges are given a blank sheet and they're asked to rank each contestant for a composite score. And they're given names one at a time so as not to save points, if you will.
Okay.
They don't know who the entire list of top 10 is. They're given a name one at a time. They look back at their notes and think about how they judged this girl, what they thought of her in interview, whether or not she was entertaining on stage during her talent, and then they give a composite score. And after the composite scores are given for each of the 10 contestants, the top 10 compete, and then it's broken down. Once again, they go through, they rank each contestant in each phase of competition, and the top 5 is determined. And once the top 5 is determined, they give the judges yet another ballot, and they're asked to rank the contestants between 1 and 5. And 1 being the new Miss New Hampshire.
Okay.
And so each judge could have different opinions, but that's why we have tabulators to figure that out. And so sometimes judges are surprised at the results because they're not allowed to talk about it with one another.
Oh, good.
It's personal, and so it's really neat when you have a
Quite
diverse panel of judges. Yep. I don't know that I could handle the pressure of doing tabulation, but it's really unique, and I can't wait to be a judge one day and see that side of it, because it is a lot of pressure for them, and it's a nerve-wracking experience for them as well, and people think that they have an easy job, and they don't.
The judges how are they chosen?
They are chosen by the Miss New Hampshire Board of Directors, and this year we had 3 judges from New Hampshire who are local residents, and we had 2 out-of-state judges who were both affiliated with the Miss America organization. One was from New Mexico, and he was a former executive director of the Miss New Mexico program, and one was from Philadelphia, and he was an executive director of the Miss Pennsylvania program.
That's
so
interesting.
it's always nice when you have some judges on the panel who are familiar with the organization and know what a good representative would look like. But it's also nice to have local judges as well who know the state of New Hampshire and know whether or not the young lady is knowledgeable about her state and can represent her state to the best of her abilities.
Sounds like fun.
It really is. It really is.
Well, the Miss Greater Dairy pageant is going to be coming up. Talk about that a little bit, and what is your role in that pageant?
Sure. So the Miss Greater Dairy pageant is a local pageant that will then allow the young woman who wins that title to go on to compete at Miss New Hampshire. So just so the audience knows, there are 27 local titles in the state of New Hampshire, Miss Greater Dairy being one of them. And I competed in Miss Greater Dairy last year and was fortunate to place as first runner-up. Jessica Avalar won the title of Miss Greater Dairy last year, and so she will crown her new successor this year. And I will be there as well, helping potentially MC the show, coming on stage as a guest if they might ask me to perform. But as Miss New Hampshire, I will attend all 27 local titles. Oh, wow. And so that's an obligation in and of itself. But it's important that I'm there. I am the face of the Miss New Hampshire organization, and to be able to have a chance to meet the local title holders, who one of them will become my successor next year, is really important, and really being able to speak to the audience about different events that I've attended as Miss New Hampshire and my preparation for Miss America, and just keeping everybody in the loop as to what I'm up to.
I think that's important.
It really is.
As you mentioned, the next, your successor, the more she knows and understands about what she's going to be stepping into,
exactly,
the better.
Right.
Because it's a commitment.
It definitely is, and so many people think that it's, you can just go in and be Miss New Hampshire, but there is a lot behind it, and a lot of preparation, and I've already done quite a number of appearances in the 3 weeks that I've been Miss New Hampshire. I kind of hit the ground running.
Right.
But if you're prepared for it and you're ready for it, you will be successful. And so Miss Greater Dairy will be the first local of the season.
It is.
Yes, and it's hard to believe that it's just around the corner, because it feels like I just won the title of Miss New Hampshire, but there is a pretty quick turnaround from when Miss New Hampshire ends and then the first local of the new season
I'm
begins.
thinking you may have conflicts with 27 pageants that you need to attend, that if there's not 2 on the same evening, I'm sure they must try to coordinate that.
Yep, so all of the local directors have to submit their potential dates for the pageant, so as to make sure that there aren't overlapping pageants.
Oh, good.
Some pageants have dual crownings where they'll give out 2 titles in one night.
Oh, really?
Which is nice, because then it's one less, so there might be 24 pageants that I have to go to in total, or 22. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Okay, but the
I'm not
dual
necessarily doing
pageants.
27 different days, but
Okay.
they might crown 2 title holders in one night.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, yep. So it'll be
So
an
are there a
exciting year.
separate panel of judges if there's 2 being crowned?
In some cases there have been. I think depending on the number of contestants you have competing, you can just have 1 panel of judges, and that has happened in the past. And I believe, if I remember correctly, there have to be at least 8 contestants competing in order to give out 2 titles. So sometimes that can be a challenge.
It's complicated.
It does. There's so much that goes into it, but I'm excited to be on the other side of it as Miss New Hampshire, attending the locals and having an opportunity to speak to the audience rather than, I guess, having a bit of stress about competing.
Right. Did you give us the date and location of where it is?
It will be June 19th. I believe that's a Friday, and it will be at the Derry Opera House, I believe at 7 p.m. And so that will be coming up pretty quickly. And like I said, that will be the first local competition of the year. And Miss Greater Derry always gives out a significant amount of scholarship dollars.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
I don't know that it's the largest scholarship, but in the past it has been. And so just last year as first runner-up, I walked away with about close to $2,500. Nice. So it's
nice to
very
hear the generosity in our town.
Oh yes, yep, and the funds that are raised, whether that be through Texas Hold'em events or bingo nights in town, it all helps and goes towards the scholarship funds.
Tell me, is there a website that people can visit if there is a girl that would like to get involved?
Absolutely. Anyone who is interested in learning more about the organization, whether that's becoming a volunteer or becoming a contestant, can go to missnh.org, and there is an abundance of information about how young women can become involved. I believe there's a link that says become a contestant with information about the process in which they go through and the paperwork that they will complete to be a local test contestant.
What about someone who's interested in volunteering, maybe their time or talent to help with the organization? Is it the same website?
Yep, again, the same website, missnh.org, and there's contact information for some of our board of directors and president, and they can reach out through email or call the Miss New Hampshire office for more information. We are always looking for more volunteers, and it's a great way to be involved and learn more about the organization in general.
Wonderful. Is there anything we missed talking about that you'd like to bring up?
I think we pretty much covered it all. I'm really excited to see what this year brings.
Will you come back?
I will,
right
absolutely.
Before you go off for Miss America,
Yes,
come back.
I would love to. And
talk about, because I know there's a shoe competition,
and
which I'll be anxious to hear
I've started
about.
brainstorming some
Already?
ideas for that.
Oh, good.
It's hard to believe that I'm already thinking about that, but
you need to be.
I need to be, exactly. And it will come much quicker than...
you said September, so you just have a few months,
right,
really.
And just so the audience knows, there have only been 3 states crowned so far. So there are quite a number of contestants who have yet to be crowned. And so if I think I have a limited time to prepare, the contestants who are crowned in July really have a short amount of time to prepare. So at those states, they're really looking for the girl that they can send off in 2 months to be ready for Miss America.
For Miss America.
And I'm sure that our judges looked for that as well, someone who is ready to go if I had to go tomorrow.
Right. You don't think you have a full year of reigning as Miss New Hampshire if you get crowned Miss America. So your reign is really, it may be cut short.
It could be, yep. Right. And if I were to become Miss America, my first runner-up would have the opportunity to take over the crown as the new Miss New Hampshire. And if she decides that she would like to compete again on her own, she can pass it down to the second runner-up, and it would keep going down until someone says, yes, I'll be the new Miss New Hampshire. So that's something I had to think about last year. If Megan Cooley had won Miss America and being the first runner-up, whether or not I would have taken the crown.
And if you had, then you wouldn't have been able to compete the following year, right?
And so
I
definitely thought about it, because who's to say Megan couldn't have won Miss America? She very easily could have.
Right.
And had she won, they would have come to me and said, would you like to be the new Miss New Hampshire? And I thought about it, and I think I would have had to given it some more thought, but I wanted to be able to prove it to myself that I could win and have the opportunity and the experience to go to Miss America. And so the young woman who was crowned Miss New York, Kira Kazantsev, went on to win Miss America. And so when she won Miss America, it went through her first runner-up, second runner-up, and I believe it went to her third or fourth runner-up that took on the new title as Miss New York.
Oh, okay.
And she did that because due to age restrictions and eligibility, she wouldn't have had another chance to compete at Miss New York.
Okay, that makes
and so
sense.
it made sense.
Yep.
Exactly.
Well, I'll look forward to talking to you in a few months before you go off to compete.
Yes, I look forward to it as well.
I'm sure I'll see you around town at a lot of the events that go on.
Yes.
Thank you for coming in again.
Thank you so much for having me.
I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about Holly Blanchard, Miss New Hampshire 2015. Once again, my name is Susanne Bernier-Robinson. Thank you for watching Derry Community Television.